Don't need to adjust your TV or search for something making a noise. The sound we've just played is exactly what Made in Chelsea's Jamie Lang heard for the first time almost a decade ago, and he's been hearing the same sound almost every day since.
Yeah, Jamie woke up one day hearing that whooshing, high-pitched noise and was eventually diagnosed with tinnitus and was told that there isn't a cure.
Jamie is here to tell us about his experience alongside Dr. Raj. Good morning to you both. It's only when you hear that, Jamie, that you realise just how debilitating it must be.
Yeah, it is pretty debilitating. And look, my story is that 9 years ago, I woke up one morning and I could hear this ringing. So I searched the whole house to find this noise and then realised it was in my head, which is quite a scary thing. And
frightening.
Really frightening. The upsetting thing is it affects 1 in 7 people. So 1 in 7 people are affected. So I'm a big advocate for talking about it, you know, allowing people to realise that if you do have it, it is a little bit scary, but there are ways to sort of help it. And yeah, and also the hard thing about it is no one can see it.
Yes.
Or feel it. So it's a very solo problem. So you're very stuck in your own body with it.
So do you hear kind of that noise that we just heard? And does the noise that you hear get worse? What's it like? Try and describe it for us.
So it's like a high ringing whooshing noise, and lots of tinnitus is different, right? People hear different things,
right?
But there are certain things, right? It's a problem because the more anxious you get, the more stressed you get, the more tired you are. All these, the louder it gets. And when tinnitus first starts, all you're thinking about is the tinnitus. Oh, it's there, it's there. So it's louder and louder and louder. So what I try and do is I try and treat it now like a friend, which we were talking about earlier, which is where people who have tinnitus are so scared of it, so scared it's there the whole time. But actually, now I sort of treat it as that really annoying friend. So if it's really loud, I go, OK, what are you trying to tell me? I'm either anxious, I'm either stressed, I'm either overworked or overtired. And if you do that with it, it kind of helps it a little bit.
So you can put into context what you're going through, and then that can reduce how loud it is?
It reduces it because basically tinnitus is about accepting it. You just sort of have to accept it's there. It's like I treat it like, OK, you can hear that fan in the room. People on TV probably go, but you can hear the fan in the room. If you think about the noise, you can hear it. But if you're not thinking about it, you block it out. So you treat it like that.
What was it like getting the diagnosis? Because having had that experience of thinking there was a noise somewhere in the house, in the flat, in the room or whatever, and then going, gosh, this is in my head.
Yeah.
And then not really knowing what you were going through, probably doing a bit of Googling, but actually to be given the diagnosis and also being told it's not curable.
Look, it's really upsetting, right? And for anyone who's going through it now and it's really upsetting. And there's no way to put about it because you think, OK, this is for life. Anything like that is just, you're like, well, how am I ever going to get through this? But I promise you, you become accustomed to it and you get used to it. And your brain and your body are amazing things that actually you somehow you realise how to work around it. And I really just encourage anyone who is watching this or is suffering with tinnitus to try and accept it and not fight it and just say, it's that annoying thing that I have, but I've got, you know, I can breathe and I can hold things and I can walk around. And so you look at the good things and that kind of helps it a lot.
Jamie, how do you think you got it or what caused it?
Well, loud music. I mean, I think...
Do you? You think it's...
I think my thing was probably different. I did never protect my ears.
Right.
And the problem with we listened to music so loud, I went to a lot of nightclubs when I was younger. I was not wearing ear protection. You know, London can be quite loud. So I never, ever thought anything of it. Now I just really want people to protect their ears. You know, if you go to a gym class in the morning, that is loud.
Yeah.
You don't have to bring earplugs, but I put tissue paper in my ears. Just somehow protect your ears in certain ways because they're so important, they're so useful. And if you can protect yourself from having tinnitus, it will be a really good thing.
You do, I mean, obviously for your work, you're doing a lot of broadcasting and presenting. So, of course, you have to be able to think and these things can be distracting. I understand when you did Celebrity Hunted, it got really, really bad. Not just because you were spending all that time with Spencer, obviously.
That's why it was bad. That's why it was really bad.
He was anxious.
Spencer just made me anxious.
but it got really bad during that period.
Yeah, it was. I did the show and it was really bad. Probably the environment or whatever, but it was so...
It's a stressful show, isn't it?
It was a stressful show and the stress makes it worse. And it was so loud, if you were talking, I wouldn't be able to hear you. I could just hear ringing. Yeah, and that was pretty upsetting. And but again, I'm a big believer in this too shall pass. And it doesn't matter if you're the most popular or the least popular, or the tinnitus is high, or you're feeling low or feeling high. Everything passes, it always moves on. So if you have that kind of way of thinking, I think it kind of helps.
It's a great perspective, isn't it? But Dr. Raj, you know, there will be people sitting at home today that are really, really struggling with tinnitus. And is it 1 in 7, Jamie said as well?
1 in 7, yeah, 1 in 7. And actually, it's Tinnitus Awareness Week this week. And the report from Tinnitus UK came out, which said that actually 8 million people by the end of 2025. So it is, you know, it's a lot of people going through this. And like Jamie said, in isolation. So it's a sound that, you know, you can hear, nobody else can hear it. And like Jamie's obviously found ways to cope with it, which I think is great. And there are treatments and ways that we actually try to help patients with that. Things like CBT, you know, exactly what you're saying about trying to cope better with turning that negative emotion into a more positive, you know, mindset. So you can deal with it in those ways, but it's hard to do that when every day you're hearing this noise in your ear. And it can be debilitating. And again, anxiety can make it worse, depression can make it worse, and vice versa as well. And it's poorly understood. It's a complex condition. It's not understood very well. What we do know is that inner ear sort of inflammation and, you know, and damage can cause these sort of nerve signals to be disrupted to your the part of your brain which basically processes sound, so your auditory cortex. And what happens is those signals sort of disrupt the sound, and then you get these phantom sounds, which actually originate in the brain, but they sound like they're coming from the ear. And those can be ringing sounds, whooshing sounds. For some people, it can sound like chatter as well, or like music.
Really
so very, very distracting. And all the treatments work on reducing that awareness that you have of it, like Jamie said, and accepting it.
Yeah, and accepting it, but also I just talk about it. Like, bore me. Send me a message on Instagram. It just talk. It's true though. Just talk about it. Talk. The way that it helped me is I have a great friend called Jimmy, and I knew no one who had tinnitus, and I was with him once. I said, I just got this thing, it's constant ringing. And he went, I've got that, and I went, you're kidding me, and we hugged. And we just then spoke about it. And when if you're
sharing
sharing, you get an echo back.
Yeah.
And it's the greatest thing in the world, and sharing it helps.
You've even talked about Chris Martin having it as well. And the day when you realise, oh yeah, he's got it too.
If Chris Martin has it, then we're all okay.
Yeah.
So I Googled like who had this thing tinnitus, and Chris Martin came up, and I thought, okay, if Chris Martin has it, then maybe I'm going to be okay. This amazing musician, and he's
who hasn't stopped playing.
Hasn't stopped playing.
Yeah.
So that's how.
And often I think musicians can get it because of exposure to sound repetitively. Similarly with like lots of exposure to noise in nightclubs, like you said, or even listen to really loud music through your headphones. So be very mindful of that. If you are somebody who's in the gym pumping loud music every single day, again, it's going to increase your risk of that. And even if you're somebody who's using like power tools and you're not protecting your ears, must do that. Wear your mufflers, wear your protection gear to ensure that you're reducing your risk of it as well. Really important.
If someone is sitting at home and they're struggling with it, though, is there things they can do? Jamie's said a couple of really interesting things already, but to manage it?
So, yeah, if you've got persistent tinnitus, there's no cure, but lots of treatments focus on sort of awareness and distraction from the sound itself. So things like sound therapy, so white noise. I think you mentioned, didn't you, Jamie, that you use white noise or
whale noises at night.
Whale noise at night, yeah.
My wife loves that, but honestly, whales at night is lovely.
Well, on Valentine's Day.
Oh, the whales are playing, let's go.
Yeah, so you can have, sound therapy, which you have like a fan on or some white noise, a bit like what you can play when you've got a little baby, there's sort of music sounds in the background. Or you can also use things like a sound pillow, which are essentially pillows with like a speaker in them.
Oh, right.
And you can change the music on them to white noise or whale sounds, if that's what you prefer, and different sounds through the night to sort of distract from the tinnitus. Because as you can imagine, trying to sleep with that in your ear, because that's the time when you're quiet and everything else is quiet. And if you've got a constant sound in your ear, it can be very disturbing. So to have some sound over that can really help as well.
Do you struggle then if you don't have the whale sounds or whatever it is to fall asleep?
Yeah, I mean, if I'm totally honest, I can't sleep in silence, which is really annoying because it's just there. So I sleep with a fan on in the room, or my best friend is Stephen Fry, and so I sleep with him in my ear.
The dulcet tones.
Yeah, I know, he doesn't sit in my bed.
I was going to say, does he know he's in your ear?
He doesn't know he's in my ear, but he's honestly, his voice was just so soothing. So find something that really soothes you.
Yeah.
I have a fan on, or whale noises, or Stephen Fry.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, it hasn't stopped the success of the business either.
That's very kind. Yeah,
I mean,
So that fabulous
10
post
years.
of Candy Kittens.
Yeah, Candy Kittens.
Can we just look at this picture? Because it's just this.
It's
you went to a
amazing.
big convention. It's a sweets convention.
Yeah.
So this is the original stand you had.
That's the original stand we had in 2014, yeah. And
Look at you now!
Yeah, it's amazing.
I mean, you've got a street.
Yeah, we built a whole house. It's really amazing, and we have an incredible team, and my business partner Ed's amazing, and we built it for the last 13 years. And it's just a really proud moment, because I think a lot of people sort of think probably that we started with all this money. We started with £3,000 and built it up, and seeing that stool there to that was really a proud moment.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Good distraction as well.
And my mum even said, "I'm proud of you." It's like that, and I was like, "Thanks, Mum."
That's the holy grail.
That is
Any mum says they're proud of you. That's the holy grail.
Wow.
Well done.
Jamie, thank you for sharing.
Thanks.
as well,
Yeah,
'cause I think,
thank
as you
you.
say, if you can share it and people
For
out
sure.
there understand that you're going through it, and as he said, you can bore him with your messages.
Do
We'd
it.
love to hear from you. You can have it.
Yeah.
That's right, nice to
Thanks.
you.
Thank you for
Thank you.
visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning. Starting by discussing today's top news stories with Nick Ferrari and Vanessa.
Good morning to both of you. And we're also joined by journalist Clemmy Moody, who is at the centre of our first story. It's been 4 months since, tragically, singer Liam Payne from One Direction passed away. And now his girlfriend, Kate Cassidy, has opened up about the singer's battle with addiction and their relationship for the first time, describing him as the love of her life.
I think with addiction, you know, you never know when it's gonna come out. It's a really serious issue that I think is undervalued and underspoken about. When I left Argentina, we had such a great day and he was in such a good headspace and we were in such, great, we just full of love, and I never would have expected any of that to occur. If I could see into the future, I would have never, left Argentina, but, unfortunately, we did have our own separate lives. Like, this wasn't the first time we traveled separately together. We would, quite often here and there in the past. So I never would have thought this would have happened. I think one thing for me that was a really big reality that really sunk in, that he wasn't here when he was obviously in Argentina and I left. We just moved into a new house. That's when it finally, I remember just sitting on the couch with my mom, and that's when I just completely broke down, and that's when I think everything shattered for me, because that's when I realized I'm never going to see him again. He's never going to come into, we're never going to be in a home again together. It was just, that's when it really did hit me. You never think that the worst possible thing can happen to, no matter what it is, whether it's a family member getting sick or just a car, it doesn't matter. You never ever think that's going to happen. And it's just, I never would have thought that it would ever, have turned out the way it did.
Well, journalist Clemmy Moody, who secured that interview, joined us alongside Vanessa and Nick. Clemmy, thanks for coming in this morning.
Thank you for having me.
Hi.
It's been 4 months since, tragically, Liam passed away. This is the first time she's spoken on the record with anybody. She seems very composed and together in that part of the interview. I'm sure there's plenty more when she wasn't quite like that. What was she like?
She was shy. She was very image conscious, which I think is normal for someone who's 25 years old, who has grown up on camera. That generation, that is their life. So I got the impression she was lovely. She was very sweet. She was very nervous. She didn't want to upset anyone or offend anyone, but at the same time, she was so scared to sort of get something wrong. And that was sad to see. And, grief does funny things to people. And, who knows what that poor girl is going through. She's lost the love of her life at such a young age. She had a life mapped out, and that's gone. So I think she didn't really know what she was thinking at times. It was a hard interview.
And, of course, huge focus because of who Liam was, the music he'd done, the band he'd been in. There's been focus on their relationship for the period of their relationship as well. And trying to navigate grief when there is so much focus on what's happened can't have been easy for her. What made her want to do the interview?
Yeah, her team approached me in December, actually, and said, she is thinking about doing this. Would you be interested? And I said, of course. For me, I think she wanted to pay tribute to Liam, to sort of share and revel in their love and their joy and their love story. And I think there were a lot of mistruths out there that she wanted to clarify. There's a lot of internet rumours, a lot of, unkind things being said. And she's got a right to sort of put those to bed and explain in her words what actually happened.
Do you think she regrets leaving, and how do you think she's coping?
Yeah, that was the hardest question. I said,
bet it was.
You've had a bit of people saying you left him, you abandoned him, and then...
Because, of course, they were together in Argentina,
and then
she flew back to America, and that's when tragically...
And 4 days later, he fell to his death. And she said, we were in such a great place, we were really happy. I had no indication that his mental health was wobbling. He was, addiction and mental health is a thing, it can go like that, can't it? And, when she left him, because she needed to look after their dog, she couldn't get a dog sitter, it was out of necessity. They hadn't had a row. And she said, of course, if I had some sort of, crystal ball, I would never in a million years have left. But I'm 25 years old, I'm not equipped to deal with everything. And I did what was right for our dog, and I left.
She talked about the fact that they were planning on getting married. They had a future together. They'd bought this house together. This is somebody that was planning for, from Liam's perspective, planning for a life with his new wife. I wonder how she's coping with the reality that that's, as she points out in the interview, he's never coming back to their home.
Yeah, that's when she got emotional, when she talked, like, little things that she said off the cuff. You could, that was real moments of reflection and sincerity, and it was really heartbreaking. But yeah, she had a life mapped out. She met him when she just graduated from college in America, so she hadn't really started looking for work. And I think she just thought she was going to be a full-time influencer, travelling the world with her boyfriend, husband, they're going to have kids. And, at 25, that's all gone. And, it must be terrifying.
Clemmie, what were the moments during the interview where she got the most emotional?
When she talked about the dog, flying back to dog, when she reminisced about their favourite holiday in Lapland. She said it was a holiday we talked about every single day since. She said we didn't even see the Northern Lights, but we were acting like kids, running around sledding all day, keeping hotel guests up at midnight, annoying everyone. And she got emotional then. I think 2 or 3 times she cried. But it was when she was not thinking.
Yes.
That's when she got emotional.
She does seem very composed at times. It feels very well rehearsed at times and organised, because she wants to make sure, as you say, she doesn't offend anyone or upset anybody, because there has been a fair bit of criticism on the internet, as there often is, and focus on her and on her relationship. I mean, how has she dealt with that? Because she's going through her own grief, and to have all of this being piled onto her as well. The speculation.
I can't imagine it. It's horrific. I mean, losing a partner and then being in the public eye, and I think anyone that's dated a One Directioner will tell you you're never going to win that battle. You're just not. So having to deal with trolling on top of, the death of the love of your life when you're just 25, it's awful. I can't imagine that.
Poor thing.
Girl.
Yeah. Poor girl, really.
Awful.
Awful.
And what about the future? Did she talk about how she sees the future?
Yeah, I asked her, and she said, I just want to help people that have got addiction issues, and, if anyone's struggling, they can talk to me. And I said, what about your future? And she said, it's too soon. But, I suspect influencing will be around for some time. She's got, I think, 2.5 million followers across all platforms. There will be opportunities, I'm sure, for her.
And what about, there's more in the interview coming on the website, I think, today?
Yeah, I've got a day 2 tomorrow, which she talks about, One Direction possible plans. She talks more, actually, about what you've just asked me about trolling and the One Direction fans and how difficult that was for her. But, yeah, we're running that tomorrow on Sun Club.
It's an important subject, men's mental health,
huge.
Vanessa.
It's huge.
And the balance for this poor girl that is now living her life. She's an influencer. She shares her life on camera, digitally, and yet she's also going through this pain that could actually help a lot of people down the line as well.
Absolutely. I mean, I think you've got to say that she's brave to have given an interview. It is quite soon after this terrible shock. I mean, she must be absolutely overwrought with recriminations about and feelings about what would have happened if she hadn't left and what would have happened if she had stayed. And just imagine the burden of that.
On
top of this absolute barrage of criticism from total strangers who don't know her and don't know anything at all about their real relationship and have no understanding of what happened. I mean, it's really, an invidious position for a 25-year-old or indeed anybody at all to be in when you're dealing with your own real grief and you've got this enormous amount of judgment and criticism going on. It's an awful lot for anybody to take.
And as you say, people are judging you and they don't know
Yes, they don't know you.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And she's trying to do it as healthily as possible as well, and going to therapy, as she says in the interview, and just trying to process it.
And Nick, I think the other thing that's worth bearing in mind is we still don't really know what happened. I think 5 people have been charged over his death. There's an investigation into what's happening, and so she's trying to speak publicly without jeopardising
and legally
that.
she can't say a lot of things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So legally, it's a complicated but very personal and emotional situation.
Absolutely right. Just a quick word of journalistic congratulations to Clemmie. That's a heck of a story, so congratulations to you. A great interview to get. Yes, as if there's not enough for this young woman to cope with, as Vanessa rightly points to, possibly even feelings of recriminations. We still don't actually know what caused that. So put yourself in the mind of that young woman now. She's lost him. She doesn't quite know it happens, and she's asking questions all the time. And to the point on social media, we're talking on a day when a senior police officer at Scotland Yard has said that the dangers of young people now, the images, the messages, the content they're picking up on social media is akin to the cancer scare of the 1950s when the government didn't do enough of the dangers of smoking. They're not doing enough of the dangers of online. And that shows that at times it's very, very difficult area for young people particularly to navigate.
Yeah, well, absolutely. Well, we look forward to seeing the rest of the interview.
Oh, hello. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
Every woman's experience of childbirth is unique, but most women will experience pain.
But could 39-year-old Lavisa Dahl have found the key to relieving the pain without medication?
Lavisa believes having an orgasm during labour is the answer to a better birth, and she's talking from experience. She's here now to tell us more alongside midwife Marley Hall. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning,
Very
Becky.
nice to meet you. Tell me, first of all, where this idea came from.
With orgasmic childbirth. You know, when I was pregnant with my first, I have 3 children, and then somebody recommended me the documentary Orgasmic Birth by Deborah Pascali-Bonaro. So I watched it with being super intrigued, super fascinated by this idea, seeing women have actually orgasm during birth. But I didn't think that would be possible for me. Because actually at the moment I had been in abusive relationships. I was still struggling with my sexuality, and kind of like I had met my husband and I was, you know, healing a lot. Yeah. But I was still sometimes struggling to orgasm in intercourse, and, you know, it was, so I didn't really think I could have that, but maybe somebody else. And I didn't. In my first birth, I didn't. I had a very beautiful home birth, 22 hours, so it was also challenging.
Wow.
Yeah.
Definitely, but it was very beautiful. I wouldn't call it orgasmic.
No.
Right.
So your first birth, even though you knew of the idea, you didn't feel quite ready. You didn't think that was going to happen. What about your second birth?
Well, my second birth, then I thought, well, what if? What if? So I started to investigate, like, how could I prepare myself? And I dove into certain topics. So I dove into embodiment, feminine embodiment, pleasure, relaxation, visualization, and surrender. So these were the 5 tools that I kind of used to make myself ready, to prepare myself.
And what happened during that second birth? Did you manage to do it?
I had like the most ecstatic birth. It was like, it's actually like hard to put words on it, but it felt like maybe like a cosmic orgasm or an energy orgasm, or like this totally ecstatic state where you're just one with everything, like a oneness experience.
But it wasn't strictly.
But it was no physical orgasm. No.
And this was all done without any sort of medication. You were doing it purely through stimulation and pleasure and.
Yeah, and in this particular, the second birth, I didn't use any like stimulation of intimate parts in this one. Because actually my daughter was present. She was 3 at the moment.
Right.
So she was present together with my mother-in-law.
Right.
So,
and you don't necessarily want to be doing that in front of your mother-in-law?
Exactly. That could be a little bit intimidating, but she is lovely.
That is the word.
But then the third time lucky, essentially, you had another child, and then this was your plan this time.
Yeah, and this time I thought, okay, I'm going to go all into the sexual aspect of it. So I was preparing more with sexual pleasure. But in the second birth, I was preparing more with sensual pleasure, like scents and
candles.
But this time I was preparing more with sexual pleasure.
And that involved your husband as well during the birth?
Yes, exactly. So he was doing some nipple stimulation, and I was stimulating my intimate parts, and it was we had spoken about that, of course, on beforehand as well. So I was basically using what science tells us, that if you focus on pleasurable sensations, you can reduce the perception of pain. because the focus of the brain shifts.
So because of the pleasure and the experience of that, you didn't notice that actually this was really painful?
Yeah, you know, actually, like I also have rephrased the word pain.
Right.
Because, and this is not to take away any woman's experience of labor as painful, but I think we have a lot to gain from looking at those sensations as intense sensations instead.
Marley, you're a midwife, so you deliver children all the time. Have you ever had anybody have an orgasm at birth?
Not that they've told me about.
Right, okay.
At the time. So I've never actually witnessed anybody experience an orgasm whilst I'm helping them have their baby.
Sure.
In the 16 years that I've been a midwife, I have had one or two mention it afterwards.
Right.
Yeah.
When I've visited them at home, perhaps, but they've been with somebody else, another midwife through their labour. But I think it's something that probably most people wouldn't disclose because there might be some shame around it, I guess. Interestingly enough, I actually did ask this morning on social media, and the response I had was from a midwife who said that she had experienced it herself.
Goodness me.
So I think when you ask the question, more and more people are going to come forward and say, oh, yeah, that happened to me.
So what about the process then? As a midwife, is it something that you could advocate? What do you make of what Louisa is saying?
Well, at the end of the day, what she's explaining is the increase in oxytocin, and that can help to reduce the perception of pain for some people. And more oxytocin actually helps with contractions as well. So a lot of NHS trusts, in their guidelines or their information for, let's say, induction of labour, for example, they might say, you know, to kind of help to get things going a little bit, is to have sex ultimately.
Yes.
To help, you know, with those hormones. They don't specifically talk about orgasmic birth, but, you know, you can kind of see what they're saying.
Where it comes
where it's coming
from,
from, yeah, and along those lines, because we know that oxytocin helps to helps the whole process, ultimately.
And surely to shift a woman's perception as well away from pain, because I think that that's such an important thing. If you go into something frightened, you're going to be frightened.
Yes, and you will tense, right?
Yeah.
So you will tense. And often also, when we think about pain, we relate it to something that is bad. But the sensations of birth, or the birth waves of the contractions, they are not bad. They are actually helping you getting closer to your baby. So it's a totally different type of sensation, actually.
There will be lots of people watching that may think it's a bit distasteful and may think it's inappropriate to be sort of behaving like this when you're having birth, giving birth.
Yeah. I mean, there is a lot of... it's a taboo topic. I really think that we need to remember that birth is part of the female sexuality. Because in the same way as menstruation is, or menopause, giving birth is sexual. We give birth with our sexual organ. And yes, it can be controversial to say you can use, you can stimulate the intimate parts in labor, but really the intimate parts are really already being stimulated. Because
it's been a very positive experience for you, hasn't it?
It's so interesting to talk to them both. Thank you so much for joining us
hello.
this morning.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. First glance, you might assume that 72-year-old Caroline V is your typical granny, who now enjoys a much slower pace of life, but that couldn't be further from the truth, could it?
Despite abstaining from sex for more than 40 years as a devout Christian, Caroline left the church behind, going on to become an escort, adult model and webcam performer.
She now earns thousands of pounds a month under the name Busty Granny, and after sharing her story on the latest series of Olivia Attwood's ITV documentary Getting Filthy Rich, Caroline joins us now. Caroline, lovely to meet you.
Good lovely to meet you too.
Thank you for joining us.
You're welcome.
It's quite an extraordinary story, the journey that you've been on to be where you are and doing what you're doing now. I wonder what Caroline in her 20s, 30s, 40s, even 50s would have made of what it is that you're doing.
Well, all of those years, I was a Christian, so I would have imagined... I would never have known about it, obviously, then, in those years. Never heard of it, didn't know anything about that side of life.
So swinging or the adult film industry or any of that?
I would have been totally ignorant of all of that. Yeah, I was living my nice little Christian life, you know?
Was it a life you were enjoying?
Oh, yes. Yeah, I was really committed. Involved each week. You'd have church twice on Sunday, prayer meeting on Tuesday, youth group Wednesday, Bible study Thursday. Really involved, really committed. Oh, the young people, we would go out and do things. Went to Spain doing evangelism, tour out there. Yeah, it was my life. And I was happy, but I had moments throughout my life where I got depressed. And they were the unhappy times, which carried throughout my life.
And so then what was the catalyst? Because obviously there was a massive shift, a massive change in your lifestyle, your beliefs, your whole life.
Absolutely. I mean, you couldn't be more different, really,
No.
could you?
So what was the catalyst for it?
It was because in the church I had become totally disillusioned because my life was not good.
Right.
And so I got to the point where I thought, you know what? I don't think I really believe this anymore. I don't even know if there's a God anymore. And if there is, I don't think he cares much about me. So I thought, what am I doing here? This isn't for me anymore, And they didn't understand my life and how bad it was and couldn't help at all. So.
And you'd never really had a relationship, had you?
No.
You hadn't found love, you hadn't found a partner, you hadn't really experienced that side of life?
No, never experienced anything like that. Which is why, well, in the beginning, before I became a Christian, I had a few boyfriends and such like and had experienced sex, but it wasn't enjoyable.
Right.
So when I became the Christian, it wasn't as if I was missing something.
Right.
Because I hadn't enjoyed it, which is a huge part of why I didn't miss it.
Yeah.
And just got on with life as it was, as thousands of people do who are single in the church. And so, yeah.
So you left the church.
So I left the church.
And then did you go out on a date with somebody? How did that transition happen?
Yeah. I got propositioned by a 27-year-old rugby player.
Wow.
I was 57 at the time.
This is in the Florists?
Yes. I knew him through work. We'd never met, but we used to do flirty stuff on the phone, as you do. And then one day we were talking on Facebook.
Yeah.
And he said, why don't you come over to mine this evening? And I thought we were still doing the flirty stuff. So went along with it, didn't go. He rang me up and said, well, where are you then? And I went, oh, you're serious? Oh, wow. So I went, no, because I was still very shy. And,
Yeah.
So, but then I thought, well, I'd been having emails from a sort of dating sex website. I thought, oh, well, if a 27-year-old rugby player thinks I'm sexy, let's do a little exploring, shall we? And so I found this website, went on there, and I was getting messages from 18-year-olds.
Even younger?
Yes. And I was going, no, being young enough to be my son is one thing. Being young enough to be my grandson is just wrong on so many levels.
Right.
And just an age, babe. They'd say, oh, no, but age is just a number. Yeah, but an important one. Yeah, so I met a lovely guy. We went for a drink, then we went for a meal, and then he invited me to, said, would I go to a hotel with him?
Okay.
And he was closer in age to you?
Yes.
Still a bit younger, but closer?
Oh, yes, he's late sort of 60s now.
Right,
so
okay. Yeah.
Very close to my age. And so, yeah, we got on really well. And so we went to the hotel and, so we did oral, which I'd never done before.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I wasn't quite sure what to expect, really.
Right.
Neither are we.
No. And he thought I was very good at it. Let's just put it that way.
Right.
And he said, where did you learn to do that? And I said, I haven't. It's my first time. And he said, well, you got a gift. So I
Right.
thought, well, I'll take that.
That's quite a compliment.
Yeah.
It is, isn't it, when you
Yes.
haven't done anything for 40 years, to be told that on your first time?
Absolutely.
Nothing like boosting your confidence, is there?
No.
So, so we carried on seeing each other for about a year or whatever. And then another friend who I'd met on that site, he came over to my place once, and on his way out, he said, I've been going to a club for the last few months. I think you should join me. And it was a swingers club.
And what did you know about swinging at
Nothing.
this point then, Karen? You
Absolutely.
didn't know what that
She's a
meant.
very quick learner, though, Brenda. She's okay. Don't you worry.
She's adventurous,
Caroline's
that's for sure.
okay. Don't you worry about that.
So you didn't know. So you go along to this swinging club.
Yes, and it was a party night.
Okay.
So, it was a bit busy.
Yeah, we don't need too many details.
No, I'm not going to give you any.
No.
No, because it's really not suitable for daytime television. But let's just say it was a party night, and it was very busy. And I thought, oh, my goodness me, what have I come to? what is this place? You know, and it was interesting and enlightening, but quite scary as well.
I bet it was intimidating.
And so he said, well, you should come back on another night when it's not so busy.
Right.
Okay.
So I did. And that was far more, that was lovely. That was like a social. You sat around chatting, you go in the pool, in the hot tubs, all very nice and civilised, you know.
Very civilised.
Very civilised. And then you could go off and play.
Be not so
whatever you
civilised,
want, you know.
Slightly Romanesque.
Yeah, exactly.
You know.
Yeah. And so that's how I got into the swinging. I then carried on, joined the website and started meeting lots of guys.
And then you kind of put 2 and 2 together and went, well, actually, I quite like this. I can actually make some money now.
Well, I didn't, funnily enough, because I didn't know anything about the escorting at that time.
So how did you find...
So it was the guys that I was meeting, and they were saying to me, have you thought about doing escorting? You'd be good at it, and you get paid. And I thought, got to find out more, haven't you? I mean, you know, you can't do anything but I need to find out. So I did. And I saw a documentary, and there was an 85-year-old lady on there doing it. Right. And I thought, oh, my. Well, if she can do it, so can I. So one of the guys that told me about it, he got me all set up on the site. And, and off I went.
And so suddenly you're now doing this professionally. So you're having physical and sleeping with men for money.
Yeah.
Caroline, and have you ever sort of struggled with the conflict in that, whether it's a sort of thing that people do or that it's quite a sort of obviously it's an old business, it's been around for centuries.
Longest profession in history, isn't it? So,
have you ever been conflicted at all?
No, I think because, I mean, OK, you could say the money, but given that I was already meeting people and doing the same things in the swinging, it was just, well, if you can get paid for it, why not? You know, it's a way of earning money. It's no different. You're still meeting the same kind of people, doing the same things.
And you're enjoying it.
And you're enjoying it.
And what's it like being able to offer that service? Because I know that there's quite a lot of younger men that now enjoy your company. What's it like being able to share that with them?
It's great. I mean, I meet all sorts, you know, all occupations, all sorts kinds of backgrounds and all ages, you know. And let's just say there's quite a large percentage of the population that have granny fantasy.
Right.
Something completely new to me, never knew anything about it. But they're just normal guys and they just like to play with grannies because they feel comfortable with us.
Yeah.
Because they're girls their age or women their age, they can be a bit not helpful. They can ridicule them a bit. You know, they're not understanding about guys and all of that realm and what you do. And so they like older ladies because we're just very relaxed with them and we help them and understand. And so it's like, yeah.
And if you know, taking everything that you know now, would you have started doing this earlier?
Absolutely.
Why?
Oh, my goodness, because it's so much fun. I mean, you know, at the moment now I'm travelling around the country doing photo shoots, you know, making little video clips to sell.
You've given up your job at the florist?
Only recently.
Right.
31st of December last year.
Yeah.
Packed that in because I'd paid the mortgage off.
Well done, Caroline.
Last payment done, floristry gone. Because it was going downhill.
Right.
Trying to make money, no good.
What do your family make of this?
Let's just say they're not too impressed.
OK. You haven't got any children, there's no grandchildren?
No, never got married.
But you have got siblings?
So, yes.
But you're sort of estranged from those?
Yes.
You haven't been in contact?
They decided that we were going to meet and then they got some information from somewhere, don't know what, because it had been out there a long time, so we don't know who told them what. I still don't know how much they know, but they sent me an email saying, in view of certain revelations in the media, we do not think a meeting would be helpful.
No. How do you feel about that?
And I thought, whoopee, because I actually didn't want to meet them because I knew what they thought of me before doing any of this.
Right. And what about the future? What does the future look like for you?
The future now? Well, having paid the mortgage, huge relief. Never, ever thought I would do that. So that's marvellous. That was the main reason of doing it, clear the mortgage. And then it's enjoy life. Got a guy that wants me to be his travelling companion. All expenses paid. What's not to like about that?
And you stay very safe and you take care of yourself?
Absolutely. I mean, I did start off meeting them for a drink, like I used to do on the swinging. Meet for a drink or coffee first, just have a chat, you know, whatever. Did that for a little while, and I thought, you know what, this is just wasting my time. Let's just let them come, and they come straight to my house.
Make it more efficient. And how much money, can we ask how much money you're making on a good month, Caroline?
Probably 3,000, but that would cover everything that I'm doing. You know, the videos, the webcamming, the escorting, you know, all of that, if you combined it, yeah. I mean, I couldn't make, you know, that kind of money anywhere else.
No.
You know, no way, you know, and I'm never going to want another job.
But you're enjoying yourself and you're enjoying life and the adventure.
I'm loving it. I mean, that's why I want to continue.
Yeah. They paid a mortgage.
I've paid my mortgage, but they say, you know, how long are you going to carry on? I said, well, as long as I'm able and as long as I'm enjoying it. And I'm providing a lovely service for all you lovely guys out there that have fantasies of all kinds.
We can see how much you're enjoying it. You have a great energy about you as well.
Absolutely do. You
Thank
really
you.
do. There's definitely a twinkle in the eye.
Isn't there just?
More than.
I couldn't do it if I didn't enjoy it. I couldn't do anything if I didn't enjoy it. So I love it. And I just want more ladies of my age to think, yeah, I could do that, just like I did, those years ago when I saw that lady.
Caroline, thank you for coming in and being so open and honest.
Yes.
It's great.
Refreshing.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Let us know what you think about Caroline's experience. Is it something that you'd be maybe interested in doing? Is it something you have an opinion on? We'd love to get your thoughts on that.
Hello.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning. Then, when our next guest was just 19 years old, she received the devastating news that she had multiple sclerosis, which caused her debilitating bladder control issues.
Having noticed a lack of support online, Pri took it upon herself to not only become the voice of incontinence, but also become the first adult nappy influencer, where she shares try-on nappy videos with her social media followers.
So 14 million people are estimated to experience bladder problems here in the UK. Pri joins us in Toronto this morning. Good morning to you, Pri. Thank you so much for joining us. We'll talk to you in just a second. Dr. Sarah is here in the studio with us. Sarah, let's start with urinary incontinence. What is it? What causes it?
OK, it's the unintentional passing of urine. And there are several different types. So more commonly, stress incontinence. So that's when your bladder is under pressure. So coughing, sneezing, laughing. You've got urge incontinence. So that's when urine leaks, when you have that sudden urge and need to pass urine. You can even have a mixture of the two of those. There's also overflow incontinence. So you can't fully empty your bladder and that causes it to leak. And then there's total incontinence, so your bladder just can't store any urine at all, so you're either constantly leaking or frequently leaking. Now, there are lots of different causes, but the main causes tend to be the weakening or the damage of the muscles that help you determine whether or not you're going to pass urine. So that's your pelvic floor muscles and your urinary sphincter muscles. And you can also have overactivity of those bladder muscles. You can also have obstruction of the bladder that can cause it. And there are different risk factors as well. So things like pregnancy, vaginal birth, being overweight, a family history of incontinence, ageing, menopause, even certain medications.
And it's not just the physicality of this either, is it? It's the fact that, you know, people get embarrassed or how it affects your mental health.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, I think it's one of those things that's really rarely talked about openly. And there's loads of misunderstandings around incontinence. And, you know, that's whether someone's dealing with it short-term, long-term, or, you know, permanently. And according to the Royal College of Obstetricians and Gynecologists, 53% of women who had this kind of pelvic floor dysfunction did not seek help. And that is because, well, 39% said that they thought that their symptoms were normal, you know, that this is just the way it's going to be, we just have to put up with it.
Yeah.
And then 21% said it was because they were too embarrassed. And I think that's a narrative that just has to change. And that's why people like Pri are so needed.
Well, let's talk to Pri, because you're absolutely right, Sarah. When you see what Pri's doing and how she's doing it, and the courage and the honesty with which you attack your situation is so compelling, Pri. You got your diagnosis of multiple sclerosis at 19. What was that moment like for you when you got that diagnosis?
Oh man, it feels surreal. Okay, so when I was 19, it was really hard because I didn't have anyone to talk to. And because of that, it was very depressing for me because I was also going through incontinence and it was like there were just so many problems going on and there was no one to talk to and I was just depressed. It was just a dark time for me.
And that, how, we're talking specifically about incontinence. You've become so positively sort of understood and seen for talking about your incontinence. But what was that like at 19 to suddenly have this situation, this medical condition where you couldn't control your bladder? And how did that manifest itself?
It was really hard for me mentally because it was like, like when you think about people who wear diapers, right? You would think about babies or maybe even the elderly. But then what happens when your age falls in between? It's like, why was I the anomaly is what I kept thinking in my head. And I was like, wow, okay, so I have to go through multiple sclerosis. I'm going through incontinence. What am I supposed to do? And it was just really hard because, again, there was no one to talk to. Sorry, to answer your question.
Yeah. No, and when did you decide to kind of take the power back yourself? What was the moment where you went, you know what, I'm kind of going to grab the bull by the horns and I'm going to do something about this? What was it?
Mine was my social media platform, so YouTube, just being so open about everything I was going through, talking to people about my multiple sclerosis journey, talking about my incontinence, and even doing the diaper try-ons, where people really loved what I was doing, where I was just so blunt and honest about everything. People always told me how no one talks about these things and more people need to talk about it. And it just encouraged me to want to do more videos talking about the things not enough people talk about, because I would just hate for other people to have to go through what I did.
Initially, I think you were nervous and your family were really nervous about you talking about that stuff, though, weren't you?
Oh, 100%. Like, I was actually just telling my dad yesterday I was going on a show. He was really happy for me, but he's like, are you sure this is what you want to do? And I was like, yes, I want to do this. But yeah.
But also you made mistakes, like you put the nappies on the wrong way round at first and everything. And it was only that by then communicating with your audience that you realised that this was something that was actually really needed.
Yeah, exactly. It's like the very first diaper I put on backwards. Where the tapes are supposed to go on the front, I put it on the back. It wasn't until my community of people commented under that video's still up, and they were like, Pri, you put the diaper on backwards. And it was like, well, you know what? I was trying to embrace incontinence, so you might as well just embrace making mistakes while we're at it, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
And Pri, what sort of a difference has you being able to use these adult diapers, as you say, the adult nappies, for your life, for your social life, for your experience? What difference has it made?
I don't fear being outside, and that was the hardest part before even coming across the diapers, because I would wet myself outside in public, and that was traumatizing, it was dehumanizing, it was embarrassing, and now it's like all I have to do is put on an adult diaper whenever I go outside, and I could just live my life and don't have to live in fear anymore.
Pri, are you in a better mental situation now too? Has it given you that
100%.
freedom?
Yeah, 100%. It's like, especially because I know a lot of people are going through this too, it makes me feel less alone. Because when I was going through my multiple sclerosis diagnosis too, the first thing I told myself was, no one's going through this. Why is it just me? Fast forward to 7 years later, and there's a community of people going through the things I'm going through. So it makes me feel good. It makes me feel less alone.
And what do you think is the biggest misconception about when you talk about adult nappies and your use of them from people who don't understand?
I think the biggest misconception is that people assume that incontinence only happens to the elderly. But like I was saying earlier, it's like, it's not just with the elderly where they're just wearing the diapers or protection, but, babies also wear protection. But then it's like, people forget about the people that go in between those two ages. And that's when people actually told me I was doing a good job with bridging that gap, where not enough people are talking about it between those two ages. So yeah, it was like,
Dr. Sarah, we heard Pri talk about it there. You said, what was it 59% or 54% of people?
Yeah.
And we don't talk about it. Yeah. What are the products that we could actually be using?
Yeah, so these aren't necessarily treatments, but they're definitely products that can help you manage your symptoms whilst you're waiting for a diagnosis, whilst you're waiting for treatment, or just for everyday life, as Pri was saying.
Yeah.
So, yes, we've got the absorbent products to start with, things like your pads or pants. So these are the kind of nappies, I guess, you were talking about, although these ones don't have the straps, so you can't hopefully get it the wrong way round. And then we've got handheld urinals. So that's more to preempt if you know you're going to be somewhere that you're not going to be able to reach a toilet in time, then at least you've got these with you, car journeys, things like that. And then you've got sheaths that men can use. It's like a condom almost, with the tube connected so that you can then pass urine into that. We've got disposable or washable pads that you can put on your bed or on a chair. And then you've got things like moisturisers, barrier creams that you can apply to yourself so that if you know that you're going to have exposure to urine for a period of time, then at least you're protecting your skin whilst you do that as well. I think most of these products you can get from an incontinence service, so you can speak to your GP about being referred on the NHS to a local incontinence service, and you may need a referral to be assessed by the healthcare professional before you're able to access these.
Pri, it's amazing hearing you talk so positively and openly about what you're going through, and clearly the first adult diaper influencer is quite an accolade to have. What's the sort of the future look like for you, and what's the diagnosis, and how are you feeling about sort of getting older and dealing with your MS?
It's like, oftentimes I find that my family, for instance, is always getting so worried about me, but it's like, I'm tired of living in fear. I'm tired of living in worry. I don't want to think about the future. I just want to live in the now and just focus on today, because I don't want to think about how things are going to go. And with MS, it does get worse as years go on, and I can already feel it myself. But it's definitely going to get worse. But I think because I'm already okay with wearing adult diapers, I think I'm okay. Like, I just feel like I have all the support I can have. I also use a rollator to help me with walking. Yeah. And I just feel like with everything I'm doing right now is really going to help me for when things get worse, for when it does. But yeah.
Well, thank you for joining us this morning.
Thank you, Pri.
Yeah, absolutely.
What a breath of fresh air. Amazing. Absolutely. It's lovely to hear from you. How can people follow you if they want to find you, by the way? Because I'm sure some of our viewers would love to hear and see some of your videos.
Yeah, so I go by the name Bumble Pri on YouTube and Instagram, where I talk about everything incontinence, disability, and adult diaper related. And I just hope I could shed some light your way.
You are.
Yeah.
You are, for sure, right?
Positivity and light everywhere, Pri.
Sure.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Sarah
you.
as well. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
Worrying new figures reveal that shoplifting has reached an all-time high, with around 20 million incidents last year that cost retailers £2.2 billion. But what can we do about it?
Well, our next guest might have an idea. Farah McNutt, who was a prolific shoplifter at the age of 13, now dedicates her life to preventing theft, and she's here to tell us her story this morning. Good morning, Farah.
Morning, Farah.
Good morning.
Very nice to see you. Tell me, when did you first shoplift and why?
So I was 13 years old. I was getting bullied at school. I had some school trousers that they had holes in. I always had something else there that needed fixing. Mum didn't really have the money. So I took it upon myself to go in and get these school trousers. One time I took them off, I put them back, my old ones on the coat hanger, and I left them there. And I got away with it. So then it started peaking a bit more from there. So then it was shoes, makeup, trends at school, anything I wanted. I didn't ask my parents anymore. I just went and took it from the shop.
So one of the problems you had, I think you had your 7 siblings, so it's a big family. As you say, your mum had a lot going on. There wasn't a lot of money around. So in the end, you started taking it upon yourself to sort out your issues that you were having. Did it change how people sort of spoke to you and looked at you at school if you weren't wearing trousers with holes in and you had the latest trends?
Yeah, absolutely, it did. People stopped noticing them bits, obviously, because I didn't have them anymore. So I wasn't getting bullied there anymore for these type of things. And that felt good, I suppose. And the more I got away with it, the more I started doing it. And then the older generation, my friends, who I thought were my friends at the time, 19, 20-year-olds, and they would send me in the shop because I wouldn't get in trouble because I'm underage and all of that. And the stores don't mind because they've got insurance. They pay for these goods. So these are the sort of things that you get told from the older generation. Yeah.
And did it get more prolific? Were you stealing things to order almost and then giving them to these friends who you were hanging out with who were older than you?
So I never got paid for shoplifting for my friends or anything. Right. I shoplifted to keep them as friends, if you like. Right. So they had babies and stuff like that. Sometimes they'd struggle with baby milk or nappies or clothes. So, yes, I'd go get them for them as well. They had, like, a first birthday thing and they couldn't get presents and that. I went and got, like, a bouncy castle thing from a store.
How did you steal a bouncy castle?
Yeah.
That was a very big coat.
Yeah.
No, it's about the confidence of the shoplifting. Really? So I literally went to the till. I said, can I have the biggest bag you've got? Which at this time it was like a massive bag. And I went up to the thing, I put it in, and walked straight out.
Just walked out. So it's about confidence and front. So how did it get to the point, Farah, where you realised you couldn't carry on? Because it sounds like it's very easy, it's very quick, it's sorting out a lot of your problems and sorting out a lot of your friends' problems as well.
Yeah, so to get to that point, I had a little boy, and my little boy is my inspiration. All the children are the complete inspiration. I want to be a role model to them. I moved away from the area, and that's when I really looked back and I changed my timeline of my life. And I was like, hang on a minute, this isn't right. What can I do in my life? Well, there must be a purpose to my life. Like, what can I do to help or anything? I spoke to a store owner, and he got really quite emotional. He was on the brink of closing down. He basically said, look, if I close down, I've got staff members here, they're going to lose their houses.
And he was closing because people were shoplifting so much money. So the idea that shoplifting is victimless just isn't the case at all.
Oh, absolutely not. So the way I got told it, that they're victimless, they claim off your insurance. I said to him, but you claim off your insurance. If I claimed off my insurance, he said to me, then how do you think my premiums will be? It will cost me a fortune. He said, I can't claim off my insurance for a Mars bar, and if everyone comes in and steals this, and you know, it's not just about that, because it's mainly alcohol, cheese and meat that is stolen, and that's the high-value items.
And it was having your son, Bradley, when you were younger, he was kind of the catalyst for the change, if you will. But then how did you implicate this? How did you come up with this idea to try and help?
It was kind of a crazy journey. So I went, I looked at the statistics, I spoke to the police as well, and I said, like, this is 2014 now. Yeah. And I'm like, 3.3 million thefts go unreported. Why do they go unreported? So and then it got me thinking. I got a bit of research there, and I thought, do you know why they're going unreported? Because they're reporting, the store, was reporting to the police and nothing was being done. So even myself, I'll get reported to the police, the CCTV would get overwiped, or just nothing will be done. It wouldn't be in the interests of the public. And that seemed to be a massive problem. And this is when they started bringing in the limit of the £200 as well at 2014. So, like I said, I spoke to store owners. I went to the Prince's Trust in 2015.
Did they trust you straight away?
Yeah.
Did they? Because I suppose because they desperately need help in that way.
So what do you help them with then, Farah? How do you help the store owners protect what it is they're trying to sell and protect their businesses?
So we do prevention plans. So we put warning signs in there to let everyone know that what's going to happen if you do steal from inside the store. We put audio warning announcements. We do public appeals as well. And then on the other side of that, because violence is becoming so progressive with it as well, we do body-worn cameras. We do facial recognition, artificial intelligence. So it's like very technology-driven. There's a lot to it, if you like. So it's not one size fits all, and it needs to be everyone working together. So when I say everyone, I mean the security sector, the police, the retailers themselves. We all need to get together and say, look, this is enough now. We are working and we are making sure this ain't going to happen again.
And the measures that you're helping these businesses put in, what sort of an impact are they having? Have you noticed a decline in the number of incidents?
Yeah, so every single member of ours has had a reduction within the first 6 months of joining.
Wow.
Yeah, it really is amazing.
So when you implement this practice, this system, you can make a difference.
Yeah, and it's not just that. We work with family-run businesses. They work hard. This is their livelihood. This is what feeds their family. And then they have the staff member, and that's what feeds their family on top. We all pay for shoplifting as well. When someone steals something, how do you think the store recoups their cost by it?
Yeah,
they put the
prices.
Yeah, exactly that.
Farah, thank you so much for joining us and sharing your story.
Thank you.
It's brilliant how you've turned things around, and the difference clearly you are making to those businesses is tangible as well, which is just great.
Brilliant. Thank you.
Oh, hello.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload tons of new content every single day. So hit the subscribe button, like all the videos, and don't miss out. We'll see you in the morning.
If you spend a bit of time abroad with someone who's got a lovely regional accent, not unusual to find yourself picking up on the old local word or phrase. Isn't that right, Babs?
Yes, Babs. It certainly is. But imagine waking up one day to find yourself speaking in a completely different accent than your own.
That is exactly what's happened to 58-year-old Althea Bryden from North London. After suffering a stroke last year, Althea was shocked to discover she'd just suddenly started in talking in a full-blown Italian accent.
And what's even more shocking, not only does Althea not speak a word of Italian, she's never even been to Italy.
She joined us now alongside her husband, Winston. Hi, guys.
Good morning to both of you. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you so much.
So, Althea, tell us a little bit about what happened. You sadly suffered a stroke, right?
Yes, that's right. I don't remember the stroke so much. Winston will have to tell you about this. You know, I have no memory of it, really, but I can tell you afterwards. Let him tell you the beginning. I will tell you the end.
OK, so, Winston, you went downstairs, right? It was like at night, you went downstairs for a drink, you came back and...
Well, I was downstairs for about 10 minutes or so. And by the time I came back up, I realised that something wasn't right because she was kind of slumped in the bed because I left her sitting up, but where she was position-wise, she was like...
You just knew something wasn't right.
Yeah. So I started asking her, can you hear me? No response. And then I asked her, do you know where you are? Still no response.
No.
So from that point, I knew something was wrong.
How frightening.
Yeah.
Very frightening.
So you got her to hospital and then they let you know that she's had a stroke.
Yeah.
And then what happened from there?
She couldn't speak, so she was unable to respond. So they did some tests, came back and said that she needs to be treated straight away.
Which was surgery, wasn't it?
Well, the surgery came after, but they said that she needs to have this treatment so therefore they can stop the bleeding on the brain. So while she was there, I think they kind of done it as quickly as possible because they're saying the sooner she gets the treatment, the better.
Althea, let's bring you in. When do you... What do you remember? What's your first memory after having the stroke?
I just remember to wake up into a ward, but I didn't know why I was there, you know.
Yeah.
Winston telling me, my family telling me I have a stroke. I wasn't really sure where I was at the time as well, you know. I didn't realise that I'd been taken from my house, from my bed, none of this, you know. A big surprise.
And can you talk at this time or not?
No, I'm not speaking at this time.
That must be terrifying.
It
to
is so
hear all this
awkward.
stuff and not be able to say a word.
So now I'm just pointing to things all the time. And I've been,
you obviously can understand everything. And
yes, but nothing can come from my mouth. I'm just like this. But you ask about the speech. Now, it was August. The 1st of August, you know, I have a surgery.
Yeah.
I don't know if you can see this scar. Can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
Okay, so there was something growing in my neck.
Is it a carotid web?
Carotid web, that is it, yes. So they tell me it was stopping the blood flow to the brain.
Yeah.
And so this is the reason for my stroke.
Yeah.
So they remove it on the 1st of August. And then for 2 days, I'm into intensive care because my blood pressure was very low. And the next day, you know, they moved me to a ward. The nurse comes to wake me to do blood pressure again, you know, because I worry about it.
Yeah.
So I hear this voice. I've not heard my voice for a long time, you know. I'm like this. Who is it? You know, I didn't realize it was me.
So you're speaking and you think it's somebody else talking?
I look behind me in my hospital bed. Who is speaking to me? You know, why is this? It was a big shock for me.
Oh, my goodness.
So I said, maybe, you know, because you frightened me from my sleep. You know, in hospital, they wake you so early in the morning to do all of these things.
Yeah.
Break your sleep. Good sleep, but...
Maybe I'm dreaming.
Yes, that is it. And then later on, I go back to sleep. They wake me again to do medication. Okay, and to ask me, what do I want to eat? And again, I hear this voice. Now I know it's me, you know. And they say to me, you're speaking. Everybody is so happy about this. But I say, why am I speaking like this? You know, this doesn't make no sense to me. You know, I'm very happy, but it was too much. What is happening?
I can't imagine how shocking that would be for yourself. But also, Winston, when you arrived, what did you think? Because obviously she's not spoken for a while.
When I came to the ward and I was walking in, I looked at her and I said, hi, darling. And then she said, hi, babes. But the way how she said it, I was like...
Yeah.
I actually
You take a step back from me.
Yeah.
And thought myself, what's going on? Then I said, are you okay? And she spoke again and I was like...
Must have been so weird.
It's like somebody's taken over.
Yeah.
It's like a character.
It's so strange because, like, on one hand, you just must be grateful, right?
Yes.
You're back, you can talk.
Yeah. Right.
What's wrong with you is, like, you know, they've got rid of it, right?
Yes.
But now you just want your normal accent back, right?
Yes, I live my life is like contradiction. You know, I'm happy to speak. When I couldn't speak before, I was very sad, very distressed as well. You know, very stressful for this to be happening to me. But now I can speak. I'm looking for my old sound, but it's nowhere to be found. So for me, you know, I feel like a stranger in my own body. You know, and nobody can tell me what is happening to me. I keep saying to everybody, what is happening to me? Why do I speak like this? Nobody can tell me what is
I want to know what
you've got the gesticulations.
I don't know why this is that, but I have no clue.
Also,
Why is
as
it?
accents go, look, it could be worse. I mean, it's a
I
nice
know,
accent to have.
that is true, but still, you know...
No, I get it. You want your own accent.
I want to know what you sounded like before. Can we have a look? Have you sent us a video?
Yes, I do. I sent
Let's have a look.
Okay.
Good evening, good night, good morning, whatever time of day it is. Hope everybody's okay. Pauline, ooh, this is my girl, man. I'm the young one, just saying.
That's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yes. So I miss this, you know.
Of course you do.
But I will say to you, more recently now, I have to realize it is a blessing. Because, you know, I think about the fact I couldn't speak before, but now I'm like this, you know, and I don't want to be ungrateful for my blessing.
Yeah.
You know,
and, you know, I like the sound of it, actually.
It's lovely.
You really? Sound beautiful.
Yeah, you
Oh,
sound
my
great.
goodness.
We want to bring in Nick. This is Nick Miller, Professor Nick Miller, is a retired emeritus, is that right? Professor in neuroscience at the University of Newcastle. You're an expert in this. Nick, so good to have you. Thanks for joining us. Can you explain what foreign accent syndrome is and how it works?
Yeah, well, you've already got the essence of it, that it's the label given to the instances where somebody has a stroke or some other neurological disorder, and they suddenly start sounding as if they're speaking with a foreign accent of a language they've never spoken before, never been to that country, never associated with anybody with that language. And in cases of stroke or other neurological disorders, what's happening there is that if it's affected parts of the brain that control your speech, your tongue and your lips and your vocal cords and everything, that affects the strength of movements, the speed of movements, the range of movements of your tongue and the lips, and that in turn alters the way your speech sounds. So subtle changes to particular sounds or the rhythm of speech. So for instance, somebody might say they're using a pin to write with, and they use a pen to fry their sausage and eggs in. And so talking of pin and pen, the listener might think, oh, that sounds a bit like New Zealand accent to me, or the person has problems because of the stroke with K sounds and B sounds, and they're saying, instead of cat, they're saying hat, instead of big, they're saying big. And so they say big cat, and you think, oh, that sounds Eastern European or something to me rather than English. Or another way that speech might alter after stroke is that you start adding extra sounds in, or the rhythm of your speech changes. So instead of saying stamp, you say stamp. Or instead of saying a big building, you say big building. And maybe that's a bit... you're thinking, but that's a bit how Althea might speak. She's adding the extra sounds in, and the rhythm of a speech is sounding. And so listeners think, that sounds how an Italian learner of English would sound to me. But in actual fact, if you analyse the speech sounds, then it's the same as all speakers after stroke who have got differences to their speech are making these differences. It's just that in the ear of certain listeners, because they home in on particular changes which they associate more with the foreign accent than with sounding as if somebody's got a neurological disorder. So that's one big cause of somebody suddenly talking with what sounds like a foreign accent. And it's the important thing being it's as much in the ear of the listener as it is in the mouth of the speaker. But sometimes people would start to talk with a foreign accent due to a functional neurological disorder, a functional movement disorder. And what's going on there is that the symptoms, the way the the speech sounds as if you've had a stroke or something, but when you do all the tests, they all come back negative. You've not had a stroke, you've not got a brain tumour or whatever. And the kind of understanding there of what's happening is that it's an interaction between the psychological and biological factors. So, and we've all experienced this. So it's where a response to a particular situation causes particular biological reactions in us. So stomach ache and feeling sick before some important exams, splitting headache when you come home after a stressful day at work, or
Nick, honestly, it's absolutely fascinating. We have run out a little bit of time. Hopefully there is. Is there a cure? Can we just have a simple answer with regards to a cure? Is there a cure?
Yeah, the prognosis is good. Either direct treatment addressing how to produce the particular sounds that are making you sound foreign, or especially in the case of functional neurological disorders, functional foreign accent syndrome, more likely a talk-in therapy like cognitive behaviour therapy, where you're taking back control over your symptoms, control over how you speak and whatever.
Oh, thank you, Nick. Thank you for joining us. And Althea and Winston, thank you for joining us. It's an absolute fascinating story. Thank you so very much.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.
You may, of course, remember, as we said, this classic This Morning moment from 1998.
It's Viagra Day.
Let's take that pill.
I certainly would. You try and stop me.
The pills apparently take about 45 minutes to an hour to kick in, and then there's a sort of tingling sensation, then we hope a lot more than that. All three will be installed in their own hotel rooms just around the corner.
So those pills have gone down, and we'll see what comes up.
Really? This is it? And if you care to go that way, and we'll lead you to the cars. Well, they went off to a hotel, and they've just come back. How long have you been impotent for again?
About 4 years.
How are you at the moment?
I'm warm, I'm glowing, and I could go another 10 rounds.
Could you?
Another 10?
That was a ringing endorsement, wasn't it?
There's nothing wrong with him.
So, of course, that was 28 years ago. This Morning made history when Richard and Judy invited those three couples to try that new drug, Viagra, live on the programme.
Well, after helping men almost 30 years ago, today it's time we try and help the women. It's estimated that 7 in 10 women have experienced low libido, and some over-the-counter supplements, dubbed the female Viagra, claim to boost a woman's sex drive in just half an hour.
So later on in the show, we're going to be meeting Elaine and Emma, who have both tried libido-boosting gummies and a powder sachet at home with their partners, see how they get on. But we're starting today by meeting a couple who have very kindly and bravely agreed to try one of the pills live during the show.
Yep, Karen and Ray join us now alongside Dr. Zoe. Good morning.
Morning,
to
all of you.
Good morning, good morning.
Ray's got a big smile on his face. You're ready for this, aren't you, Ray?
Can't help it.
Dr. Zoe, let's start with you.
Yeah.
Why, when women reach a certain age, do they have this kind of loss of libido?
Well, I think even actually before women reach a certain age, right, it's really, really common that women lose libido. We live really stressful lives now, really busy lives. The hormone cortisol, which people might have heard of, the stress cortisol, if you've got that circulating around your body, that actually suppresses your ability to get turned on, essentially. So if we're stressed, but once we reach perimenopause and menopause and estrogen declines, but also testosterone declines, then it is relatively common that women experience a loss of libido. But it's really complex as well. If we think about what's required for a man to be ready to have sex, they need to have this mechanism, which is stimulated by the brain, for the penis to fill with blood and get an erection. For women, it's much more complex than that. A lot more things have to happen.
Isn't it?
For men, it can be instant seconds. For women, it takes, you know, about 20 minutes usually for women to be ready for sex. And anything that interrupts that process, so be it stress, be it an argument, if you're a little bit annoyed with your partner from something earlier in the day, it's really, really difficult. So, you know, this is why women are much more likely to be in the mood if there's foreplay, you know, and foreplay isn't necessarily sexual touch. It could be doing a nice deed, taking the rubbish out, you know, preparing a meal, running a bath. All those things can make a difference, just acts of kindness. But, as we mentioned, for many years, for decades now, there's been a solution, a pill in Viagra that can help the penis get erect, and we don't have that for women. But there are certain ingredients in supplements that we're going to talk about today that might potentially have some effect in helping women get ready.
And this is what Ray and Karen are going to go and test for us while we're on air. Karen, how long have you guys been together now?
Been together 16 years, married for 6.
Yeah.
And I think initially you have a good sex life, and then obviously as you get older, we both work, and then we've got our hobbies. Ray's a drummer in a band, so he's out gigging the weekend and rallies his car. At the gym at the weekend.
Did you say valets his car?
Rallies his car.
No, rallies his car.
Yeah.
Valet, it's not a hobby, that.
So then at the end of it, you're tired, and then you sort of don't have time for each other, and your libido starts to go a little bit, I think it is. And obviously...
And Ray, you've had an operation too?
Yeah, I had a heart bypass 2 years ago now.
OK, so how are you feeling now?
Well, I'm great now. Prior to that, my energy levels really took a dive.
Right.
But they're coming back now, but it's not quite as good as it used to be.
Yeah.
Karen, is this something that the two of you have spoken about, the fact that perhaps you're not quite as active as you once were?
Probably mentioned just recently, yes. Yeah, and I think after post-menopause as well, I think that doesn't help as well. I think that's another factor after menopause. Your libido sort of goes as well. So a lot of reasons why
we are aware. We are aware of it.
And you know, we're thrilled that you wanted to come in, but you're doing it on live television. Lots of people at home saying...
The tablets.
Yeah, the tablet bit. The tablet bit. We're going to let you go off and do the other bit yourselves.
The other bit, Ben.
The important bit, to get the results. And you're comfortable about doing that? Were there any concerns?
Yeah, fine. Happy with it, yeah. Looking forward to it.
Yeah.
OK. Well, Karen, do you want to take the tablets? While you do that, Zoe, what's in there?
So there are two main food supplements that there are some studies that support this notion that they can help with libido. One is called maca root, which is a Peruvian root, and the other is called fenugreek, which people have probably got some fenugreek on their spice cupboard, their spice rack.
Yes, and I used it when I was breastfeeding as well, actually.
Yes. So it's thought to have an effect on testosterone levels, essentially. So by increasing the levels of testosterone in the system, it can give that little boost of libido. With anything, just always got to say, especially with fenugreek, actually, taken at high doses, there can be some negative side effects as well. So just be careful. But, you know, taking a one-off dose, like what's happening today, is safe, and we'll be really interested to see the results.
And these are just over-the-counter tablets, right? Is there
not a prescription?
Yeah, there's nothing...
they're not drugs, they're food supplements rather than drugs. So, you know, my advice, typically with anything that's food supplement, you know, it's often the same advice that we give. There aren't these really good, robust studies that say that these are going to work, and they're not very, very cheap, but, you know, it's worth giving it a try. Try it for a couple of months. I always say keep a diary, be really strict about keeping your diary so you can really assess if it's made a difference. And if it hasn't made a difference, then don't do it anymore, because then you're wasting your money. But for some people, it might work.
Is it cumulative, or is it just like a one-off that you take?
So it's not something that you necessarily need to take. These aren't designed to take every day through the day. They're designed to take on the days that you
feel like
that you think you might need that boost.
OK, you're smiling already, Karen. This feels like positive. The whole experience. It's 30 minutes apparently. We need to wait for the pill to have. Right, calm. He's desperate to go.
He races cars, for goodness sakes. He likes to, like, get on with it.
When someone said it's going to be brave, and you don't think it's brave at all, do you, Rafe?
No, not at all.
No, it's a lovely hotel.
I'm not taking the tablet.
No. You're just going to hopefully go and enjoy the experience. So if you want to make your way over to the hotel, which is just over the road there, and then we're going to get you back in at the end of the show, and you can let us know how you got on.
Okay. Yeah, thank you.
Off you go. Yeah. Great. Don't stop now.
Keep going.
Fifth gear.
Oh.
I feel a bit like a proud parent. I don't know why. Sending them off to see what happens.
It's exciting, isn't it?
It is. But equally, I think sort of something that's definitely worth bearing in mind is that as herbal supplements and food supplements, there's no concern from a health perspective that we could be doing any sort of damage.
Oh, no, not with a one-off dose like this, no. We're not going to be doing any damage. But I think something that's worth mentioning as well, you know, just the fact that we're having this conversation, that they're going to a nice space with this intention, already, you know, that's part of the
That's a bit of an aphrodisiac in its way.
Yes, I think
so. 12:15, I think.
Yes.
They will be back on the show, so they... Hurry up, Ray, you've got just under 2 hours, just over 2 hours.
Don't put pressure on him as well. It'll all go the wrong
As he said, he's not taking the pills. He doesn't need them. We met Karen and her husband Ray, who had said that their sex life had taken a bit of a back seat due to Karen's low libido and a couple of other factors as well.
Karen took an over-the-counter libido booster, which has been dubbed female Viagra, live on air, and we sent the happy couple off to a luxury hotel room to see if it worked. They'll be rejoining us in just a moment to tell us what happened.
Before that, though, we're joined by Elaine and Emma, who have both been trying some libido-boosting supplements for us, and they tried them at home, didn't you?
Yes.
OK.
Elaine, shall we start with you, first of all? So you'd gone through the menopause, but you were left with some symptoms, is that correct?
Yes, probably the last 3 or 4 years, I'm getting more symptoms of menopause, like anxiety, muscle aches in your joints and things like that as well, yeah.
And your libido had kind of taken a back seat?
Oh, definitely.
In what way?
Yeah. It's just, I would probably say not feeling up to it, really. No, it's just not there anymore.
Did you think about it and think, why am I not feeling like this? Or was it just, you're just happy with a cup of tea?
Happy with a cup of tea?
Yeah.
No. It's not something that I really thought about. I didn't really think about it too much. It's just that it just happened, and then suddenly I thought, what's happening, and then...
And did it affect your relationship with your partner?
No, he's very understanding indeed. He is, and he totally does get it because, it's not the be-all and end-all of a relationship, just being together and being able to cuddle and just, do other things, really,
Well, you did a video diary for us. Let's take a look at your video diary.
Well, I'm on day 3 of taking these gummies. They do taste quite nice and sweet. This is day 4 of turning me on gummies. So far, I've not felt any difference. The only difference that I've felt is that my appetite seems to be quite suppressed. Today, I feel like I've got a little bit more energy than yesterday. Last night, I had a fabulous night's sleep. In any other department, so far, nothing's really been tickled. Have you seen a difference in me?
Absolutely none.
And how did they taste? Did you notice any difference at all?
The only difference I felt is that probably after about 3 or 4 days, I had a couple of really good nights' sleep.
So it helped with the sleep?
Yes, it did. In fact, I wasn't waking up as often.
Wow. Okay.
And it kind of suppressed my appetite a little bit as well.
Okay.
I wasn't really getting hungry as fast as I normally do.
But in terms of libido and boosting your libido...
Nothing.
No joy?
Didn't do anything at all.
All right.
Nothing at all.
And Emma, you tried the sachets.
I did.
How did you get on with those?
OK, I wouldn't say it's really to my liking. I'm not a big juiced person. It tasted a little bit kind of synthetic for me, like it was really trying to be a juice and wasn't. But it was OK. I did drink it. I wouldn't say it had the desired effect for me. It does say you should take 1 to 2 sachets a day, and I just had the 1. So maybe if you took more, something might have happened. But for me, no.
No. And so these are slightly different because the one is cumulative and the other one is you just take it when you want it.
Yeah, so the ones we showcased a little bit earlier were a bit more like Viagra, and then you take it 30 minutes before.
Yeah.
Whereas certainly the gummies, they specify to take it every day, and then the sachets, you can take it either every day or before.
Yeah, this is what Hanks have said. Every woman is different, and whilst some may see an immediate impact, others may find it takes a little longer. If you naturally have lower levels of vitamins included in Libido Lift, we'd recommend taking it consistently across several days. Was that something you would try, doing it sort of regularly?
Possibly. I mean, it's the sort of thing that I could just pop into my smoothie in the morning or something like that, rather than... it's still a little bit clumpy.
Sure.
So it doesn't look that appetising. Appealing, but I think if I took it, blended in a bit better, I could definitely give it another go.
OK. Well, look, the time has come. Earlier on, we saw Karen take the supplement dubbed the female Viagra, and then she and her husband Ray popped over to the hotel across the room for a little moment.
Yeah, hopefully a very eventful morning. Hopefully the very happy couple are rejoining us now. Come on in here, you guys. about.
I think you've been enjoying this, Ray, haven't you?
It's been okay.
It's been okay. First things first, thank you so much. So,
Thank you.
Karen, talk us through the experience.
Yeah, we had a good result. It made Ray very happy.
Oh.
And I think the results, I think the effects haven't worn off yet, Ben.
Oh, really? So in theory, so I mean, it's interesting. The two girls who've tried the sachets and the gummies didn't necessarily feel much, but you feel like it really has had an impact.
Yeah, I do, yeah.
So what, you know, this is an experience and an experiment, so there's a little, that element probably goes into it as well, but physically what has happened? What do you think?
Probably a little bit of a flush, a little bit tingly, like caffeine sauter effect. So yeah, I kind of feel like a mild effect. Yeah, it's really nice.
Oh.
Yeah, I do recommend. I'll try more.
And Ray, from your point of view?
I found the tablets making my back ache.
But have you noticed the difference in Karen?
Maybe. Don't want to, you know, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, Ben.
Oh, no, I wasn't asking for details, but what, you know, what you did. But interestingly, whether you could sense that, like she was saying, she could feel a tingle. She felt more, I guess, more amorous. She felt sort of her libido.
Possibly so, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Dr. Zoe, what do you think? What do you think as an outcome of everything?
I mean, I think these are supplements, and like Ben said, you know, they are supplements that can potentially lift your libido. The ingredients that we're looking at, so there's maca, there's fenugreek, there's L-arginine. These are the three of the active ingredients that there have been studies done on. And in these studies, they do tend to find that there can be an effect. But I think what we mustn't forget is particularly, you know, the example of menopause affects your body in so many different ways. To think that we can just combat all of that with a vitamin supplement is unrealistic. You know, things like vaginal dryness, it's not going to help with that. And if you have vaginal dryness, then that's going to make sex, you're not going to be that keen on having sex. And we haven't even got into the psychological side, the relationship side. All of these things impact it as well. So for some people, actually, the right answer might be psychological therapy. It was interesting that sleeping better and just feeling better, you know, that could have a knock-on effect. So indirectly, increase arousal, libido, readiness to have sex. So I found that really quite interesting. And it reminds me to mention that actually the things we can all do to look after our libido is eat a healthy diet, you know, Mediterranean diet. Don't necessarily think individual foods like oysters or...
I was going to ask you about those.
Pistachios. You know, pistachios, for example, do contain L-arginine, which is in some of these products. But a Mediterranean diet, looking after yourself, healthy fats, lots of vitamins, nutrients, colourful plates. These can help. Being regularly physically active takes care of your circulation. Good circulation is necessary for men to get an erection and also for women to get pleasure. You know, pelvic floor exercises increase how pleasurable sex is for both men and for women, and strength of erections, and getting good sleep. If you haven't had a good night's sleep and you're tired, then your libido is going to be affected.
Sleep
and then
is
managing
magic.
stress.
Sleep is magic.
Things like yoga, things like looking into tantric yoga, meditation, all of these things are accessible as well.
What about risks? Are there any risks to anything, or is there anything in any ingredients in any of these that people should be a little bit wary of?
So I would say for someone who's fit and healthy and isn't taking lots of medications, then the doses in which these supplements have, I wouldn't be concerned about. But if you're taking medication, always just check with your prescriber, because sometimes supplements can interact. And some of these supplements, fenugreek in particular, taken in higher doses, can affect fertility, can affect liver function. So, you know, just because it's a supplement you can buy over the counter, don't take loads of it, thinking that therefore you might get an effect. It could be dangerous.
Thank you all so much for taking part in the experiment. Cameron, I'm assuming this would be something that you would be happy to try again.
Yes, definitely. I'm taking the rest of the packet home.
Well, that
Thumbs
can't
up from
be bad.
Ray.
That can't be bad.
That's really, really positive, and actually might be something that you girls could try particularly.
I am going to carry on with it.
You're going to carry on as well?
I'm just going to see what happens. Yeah. Just
Well, if you get more sleep, it's never a bad thing as well.
Sleep, it's magic.
Thank you. Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out, and we'll see you in the morning.
In September last year, we once again partnered with CALM, which is the suicide prevention charity, Campaign Against Living Miserably, to highlight the number of young lives lost to suicide.
As part of the Miss Birthdays campaign, thousands of balloons were floated in Westfield London shopping centre, each one serving as a tragic reminder of a young person who had taken their own life.
In the last decade, 6,929 young lives have been lost to suicide in the UK. And as the work continues to raise awareness, today we're joined by parents Jenny and Jack Swift, whose 15-year-old daughter, Evelyn, is one of the many who never reached her next birthday.
Happy birthday, Evelyn, my beautiful girl. From the moment I first held you, my world changed forever.
Sad. Happy, sad.
You've brought sunshine into our lives with your kind heart and amazing hugs. That beaming smile that can light up any room and your infectious laugh that always sets everyone else off. It hasn't always been easy, but you make us so proud every single day. You've brought so much joy and laughter into our lives, and I feel so proud to be your mum. Happy birthday, sweetheart.
It's such an incredible film, isn't it? So powerful,
Beautiful.
So emotive. To tell us more about Evelyn's story, we're joined now by her mum, Jenny, and her stepfather, Jack, alongside Calm's Wendy Robinson. Good morning to all of you. Thank you for coming in. Jenny, is such an extraordinary film to watch, so full of joy and love and laughter, which I guess is exactly how you remember her.
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about what she was like growing up.
Evelyn was awesome, just an awesome human. She was happy, she was kind, she was bubbly, really intelligent. She loved primary school, she loved learning, she loved helping others, she loved baking. That was a real passion of hers.
And what kind of things did you enjoy doing together as a family?
We loved going out for walks. At home, she would build dens with her little brother, and she started baking with him and letting him lick the spoon, you know. I remember having pillow fights at home and, yeah, just doing lots of things together.
So I wonder, Jack, when it was for such a bubbly, infectious, bright young girl, you started to notice things were changing.
It would have been around the time that she was about 11 years old, sort of the move to secondary school. Yeah, it was quite a tricky time anyway in our family for a number of reasons. And yeah, she found that kind of transition quite hard. And there was a few kind of like behavioural things that we just weren't kind of sure about. So Jenny took her to doctors to get sort of checked out and stuff. And yeah, it was around about the time she was 11.
And what was the response from the doctor at that point, Jenny? Because obviously no one knows your daughter better than you do. So you've seen signs of changes.
Yeah.
What happened when you took her to the doctor?
I'd seen signs of kind of withdrawal and just kind of growing more insular. And I took her to the GP and they said to me in front of her that there's no point referring her to CAMHS because they wouldn't see her unless she was suicidal.
Gosh. And how did that sit with you?
Well, we went away without any support at that point and it was really, really difficult. Evelyn felt like she didn't deserve the help at that point. And as a parent, that's really hard when you've asked for help and there wasn't that.
We did reach out to the GP, but we didn't get any response. She was clearly having issues with her body image as well, wasn't she?
Yeah.
How did that manifest itself?
In various ways. I mean, I remember a couple of occasions where she wasn't very happy in her own skin. And it was really difficult to watch. It was difficult to watch, and we as parents didn't sort of like know quite how to deal with that all the time. And like we learnt along the way, but initially it was really, really difficult.
In terms of how it manifested, I would say that we noticed that she wasn't eating her lunch at school, like she'd bring her lunchbox home. And initially, you know, we thought she's having breakfast at home, she's having a dinner, we'd sit around the dinner table as a family. So we weren't overly concerned and thought, you know, peer pressure, it's that age. She started wearing baggier clothes because she wanted to hide her body.
Right.
It was those kinds of things.
And so then how did it spiral from there? And how did you then go back and ask for more help? Because you're absolutely right. As parents, we don't know how to deal with situations like that. You need help from somebody to help you be able to handle it.
Yeah. So I became more concerned about Evelyn's behaviour and her withdrawal. And I searched her room, actually, and I felt like I was betraying her trust, but I was so concerned.
You understand.
And I found a note that she'd written that showed her intention to end her own life, which was a huge shock for me to find. But it led to a discussion with Evelyn about having dark thoughts, and I took her back to the GP.
Yeah.
We got her some support at that point. But at that point, I didn't use the word suicide. I couldn't bring myself to use that word for some reason. And I know now that that was not the best way to have that conversation, but it was a starting point with what I knew at the time.
Yeah. And so then what did you do next? How old was Evelyn at this point?
13.
About 13, I would say, yeah.
And so then how did you try and put action into motion to improve the situation? And did it improve?
I think shortly after I'd taken her to the GP at that point, we went into lockdown for COVID. So I took her to the GP in maybe the February time, and we went into lockdown in March. So it was really, really tricky. And you said it earlier, didn't you? It turbocharged her illness, I think, at that point.
I think there are so many people who found the pandemic so tough in so many ways, but if you were vulnerable already, it must have been really... Did she withdraw more?
Definitely.
I'd say so. I think there was no escape for her because we were around all the time, because we were all at home. So therefore, we could see how much she wasn't eating. Like, although we kind of knew already in certain ways, we sort of put a lot of that down to, general teenage anxiety around stuff like that. And but there was no escape for her, and then it built and built.
I think it was also, there was a lot of things online about exercising at home, and she felt the peer pressure. So when she was doing Zoom calls with, friends and things like that, if someone else had done exercise, she would then feel guilty if she hadn't exercised. And it was just this vicious cycle. And then she didn't have an outlet, to go out and see other people. So I think, a lot of young people struggled at that time.
So it got really bad, but things did improve, didn't it? She changed schools, and you went on a family holiday, and all of you felt like there was some hope because she was talking about the future.
Yeah, I think there's a big bit in between where she was really, really unwell and she'd been in hospital for a long time. But when she came out of hospital, she was talking about the future. She wanted to be a mental health nurse. She would say that she didn't want other people to go through what she went through. And she was talking about sixth form. We'd got her a place. She'd got earned a place in a local sixth form to study health and social care. We were talking about a holiday to Italy, because when she'd been really, really unwell with her anorexia, we'd set this, this target in the future of we're going to go to Italy and we're going to eat pasta and pizza. And we just started talking about that again because she felt ready to take that step. So it seemed as though at times that we turned a corner.
Which all seemed like a positive step in the right direction. But there was a day when you were out, and I think you were doing gardening? Is that right?
Yes. So she'd had a sleepover with a friend the night before, and she was absolutely shattered, basically.
Because they'd stayed up all night like teenagers.
Basically, yeah. And so you'd gone out, and I was at home, and I was just kind of doing a few jobs, and I kept checking on Evelyn as per our sort of agreement with CAMS. We would still do 30-minute check-ins.
Right.
And I went to check on her, and she wasn't there. And
And what went through your mind at that point?
A lot of panic. Rang Jenny straight away. I then rang the police. While I was still on the phone to the 999 operator, the police... Because we live quite close to a police station. Policeman turned up. There's actually somebody who had visited our house before when Evelyn had been in a crisis. So he was like, "Oh, I know you guys." Like, yeah. went out to look for her.
We knew that she would be struggling and why she had left the house.
Yeah.
And tragically, it was too late,
She
of
never
course.
came home.
And she never came home. Wendy, it's listening to Jenny and Jack tell their story and so many things that they went through. You're nodding along because I'm sure you hear it over and over again with the parents who come to Calms for help.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's deeply tragic, and we're so grateful to Jenny and Jack being involved with us in this way, because it's these stories that bring it to life for people, because I think we don't necessarily take young people and suicide as seriously as we might, or we don't put those two things together very much. But actually, when we've spoken to parents, they tell us that our young people are struggling more than they have done at any other time. So we wanted to be able to provide something practical, not just for parents, because I think it's a heavy weight to carry on your own, bringing up a young person, but any trusted adult to help them be able to be aware of how to have these conversations. As Jenny said, you know, to be able to say the word suicide, it still sticks in people's throat. We're worried, I think, that if we say it, we put it into someone's head, that if they weren't thinking about it, it might trigger that, but actually the opposite is true. If you say it, it kind of bursts that bubble and somebody can start to genuinely share what's going on, because suicide thrives inside darkness and keeping it to yourself. So when you open up, it brings light into it.
So you've devised these Calm care kits for parents and for adults and for anybody in this sort of scenario. Just explain what they are.
Yeah, so it's an online resource. It's the CARE stands for very specific things. So C is about learning to check in, to actually build in a regular conversation with a young person, probably before they get to that kind of crisis point, so the young person knows that you're somebody they can bring their general kind of issues with, or something more serious. A is about ask, and this is about ask directly about suicide. And we've created this kit to help people learn how to do that. And R is about remaining close, and it's also about removing any kind of harm from that young person. And E is about expert help. Because as Jenny and Jack did, they reached out to get help.
And got none.
And didn't get what they needed. And our experts need to learn this as well, to be able to speak about suicide, to take it seriously and to act appropriately. So really what we need is that every single This Morning viewer to get to the care kit on our website, to learn what to do. It helps you through early kind of conversations right through to what to do in a crisis, and to share that with everybody, because although we'd want, you know, government and services to do more, and we believe that they will eventually, but in the meantime there's so much more we can do as adults to have these conversations, to speak about suicide and actually to save lives.
The statistics are just so distressing. So yes, we all have to do something as best we can. Thank you so much for coming on the show, and thank you so much for sharing your story. I'm sure it's really painful, but if it can help one person even.
It's lovely, having the memories, isn't it? And looking at the video, it's beautiful. And it's such a gift. But if it helps someone else, that's
as Evelyn said, like, she didn't want anyone to go through it. So if we can help in any way, then we will.
Yeah. Unquestionably you are, and you can see as well personally how important these care kits can be.
Yes.
So the value in them is enormous. Thank you for sharing your story and telling us about your gorgeous young girl. She was just amazing, clearly. And you can see it brimming through you still as well, which is really special. And Wendy, thank you for joining us as well.
Thank you for visiting our This Morning YouTube channel. We upload new content every day, so go ahead and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss out. And we'll see you in the morning.